What if a jump rope could take you to other universes? This story holds a powerful moral you'll discover at the end. In a forgotten corner of the attic lived Rope, a red cord with golden knots that whispered stories when the wind passed through. Rope had been forgotten by the children, but every night it dreamed of spinning again among laughter and jumps under the bright sun. One day, along came Azulina, a girl who didn't play with anyone. She had a patch over one eye and a collection of sad buttons in her pockets. Azulina found Rope hanging from a rusty nail. When she touched it, she felt a tingle that traveled from her hands up to her nose. "Do you want to play?" whispered Rope. Azulina was startled, but something in its voice made her nod. She took the first jump and vanished from the attic. When she opened her eyes, Azulina was in a floating meadow where trees were made of crystal and sheep flew like kites. "You've jumped between worlds," said Rope gleefully. Azulina didn't understand how, but she felt that place understood her silences. In the new world, they met Drumkin, a drum with legs who only spoke by rhythmically hitting his belly. Drumkin guided them through singing hills and lakes that turned into mirrors when you told the truth. Azulina laughed for the first time in weeks. Rope spun faster with each burst of laughter, and the world seemed to respond with magic. But soon, a crack appeared in the sky. The perfect world began to unravel like wet paper. "Something's wrong!" cried Drumkin, pounding urgently. Azulina tried to jump back, but Rope wouldn't respond. "You can only return when you face what you left behind," said a deep voice from the cracked sky. Azulina looked into her pockets. The sad buttons were still there. Each one represented a day she felt lonely and quiet. Then she understood the magical world was a reflection of her emotions, and the crack was her fear of feeling invisible again. "I don't want to run anymore," said Azulina, tossing the buttons into the mirror lake. The water received them and returned her reflection, smiling. Rope glowed a vivid red. Its knots spun like celestial gears, and the ground began to tremble gently. "Now you can choose. Keep jumping between worlds or return and change your own," whispered Rope, wiser than before. Azulina looked at Drumkin. "Thank you for teaching me to listen without words," she said, hugging him with her eyes closed. She made one more jump, and this time, Rope took her straight to the rooftop of her building, where the wind tasted like adventure. In her hands, Rope was still alive. Azulina looked at it fondly. It wasn't just a toy. It was a key to imagine and to heal. The next day, Azulina went down to the park with Rope. She approached the other kids playing and said, with a firm voice, "Can I jump with you?" At first, they hesitated. But when they saw Rope sparkle a little, they smiled. "Of course, jump with us." Azulina laughed with them, and for the first time, she carried no sad buttons in her pockets, just a red cord full of stories. That night, Rope went back to sleep in its corner. But now it knew every jump with Azulina was a new story waiting to be born. In dreams, they returned to impossible worlds, not to escape, but to learn, imagine, and share. Drumkin appeared sometimes, teaching children to speak from the heart, whether they had words or not. Azulina was no longer the lonely girl. She was the world jumper, the one who connected stories, laughter, and realities with a single leap. And Rope, that magical rope once forgotten, became the best friend of all who believed in imagination. Moral: sometimes, to change the world outside, We must first dare to jump within ourselves. See you very soon with more magical stories that will make your imagination soar and touch your heart in every adventure.